the series finale of X-Men next Saturday morning. Check your local listings.
Hello. You want the goodies?
Welcome to the goodie room.
And the Disney stock just keeps going down and down and down. And then Bob Iger is all like, what's going on with my
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
They're going to do the Mary Poppins thing. They're going to do it. They're going to do it.
Yeah. Well, at least I'm not a girl. Slander. Oh, bitch, you killed Kenny. You fat hoe.
He who controls the spice controls the universe. And the rooster.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Reina Creole, and of course, this is the Spice Lounge show where I get together with some friends and we just have some hot takes and spicy conversation around pop culture, gaming, and whatever else decides to tickle our fancy. So make sure you're hitting that like button on the way out. Well, no, not out. I don't want you to go nowhere. Hit that like button on the way in. Let people know that we are here on and popping, because in this show, it's going to be a barn burner. We are going to be talking about what is going on with Sweet Baby Inc. ticking off one of the groups you do not want to tick off, and that would be, of course, Real Gamers. And in addition, we're going to be talking about basically how Nelson Peltz has bitch slapped Bob Iger with a white paper from Restoring the Magic. We're going to talk about that as well, considering that town hall is tomorrow afternoon. So let's see, before we get into the hot topics real quick, number one, thank you so much, Kristen DeLorme, for being a member for 18 months and showing off my membership. And thank you for that $10 Canadian super chat. Those, 10 loonies and 5 toonies. Just love from Canada, my dear lady. You are lovely, educated, and have respect for us Canadians, except Quebecois. Those guys give us all a bad name. Love from Mel and I. Well, thank you so much, my dear. I can't talk about Quebecois, although my Quebecois left and went to Louisiana. That's why I know what Louisiana should look like. Take note, Disney. So, folks, with that said, let's go ahead and hit our hot topics before I bring on my amazing panel. So let's start off with boom, coming to us from the Hollywood Reporter, Avatar: The Last Airbender renewed at Netflix for final 2 seasons. The double season order for the live action adaptation will conclude the fantasy drama. Now, your girl did watch Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix. I actually watched the series twice. We talked about it last week on the show. It was actually a really nice watch. It obviously ended on a cliffhanger. So I'm actually glad to hear this is going to get 2 more seasons. So the order will conclude the story of Aang's journey to become the Avatar in the fantastical world. Since the show's February 22nd debut, the series has been Netflix's top English TV show with 41.1 million views, according to the streamer. So, while the first season was 8 episodes, there's no word yet on the episode count of the final 2 seasons. Frankly, I hope that they keep it at 8 episodes for each season. That was the perfect amount. You could binge it, enjoy it, and move on. So again, to wrap it up, Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix is getting not 1 but 2 more seasons. So very, very well worth it, I think. Number 2 hot topic, and this is probably a surprise to no one. Rooster Teeth shut down by Warner Brothers Discovery, the Roost Podcast Network to continue. This is coming to us from Deadline. A pioneer in digital content creation is going away. Rooster Teeth, a subsidiary of Warner Brothers Discovery Global Streaming and Interactive Entertainment, announced this morning that it is ceasing operations after 21 years. The process starts today and is expected to last several months. The news was announced at an all-hands company meeting and shared in an internal memo by Rooster Teeth General Manager Jordan Levin. It is with a heavy heart that I announce Rooster Teeth is shutting down due to challenges facing digital media, resulting from fundamental shifts in consumer behavior and monetization across platforms, advertising, and patronage, Levin said in the email. You can read it in full below. And I'm glad Cavell brought this up, because if you've been following anything about Rooster Teeth, they aren't exactly the most above board company, so to speak. There's been some pretty scandalous stuff that's going on with Rooster Teeth. Google is your friend. Go ahead and check that out. But dude, I feel exactly the way that you do. Couldn't have happened to a worse company. Who's worse, Rooster Teeth or Blizzard? I'm gonna have my panel answer that question when they get on. But speaking of kick-ass games, Ghosts of Tsushima, the latest PlayStation exclusive, hitting PC, and soon. As some of my channel members know, and you follow me on Twitter know, I'm building a gaming PC. I've been jealous that PlayStation got this game, but yes, the Ghost of Tsushima is the latest PlayStation exclusive coming to PC, along with its Director Cut edition arriving May 16th. So let's see, revealed on the PlayStation blog with the Steam page, open world samurai game Ghost of Tsushima will be available alongside its Iki Island expansion and online cooperative mode Legends in one package, currently listed at $59.99 in the US and £49.99 of the King's money in the UK on Steam. PC version supports upscaling and frame generation, blah, blah, blah. NVIDIA DLSS 3. The only reason I know what that is because I'm looking at graphics cards. So they haven't shared any more system requirements, but basically developed by Sucker Punch. It's going to be available May 16th. 15th. So I will definitely be checking that out. I watched the gameplay of people playing this game, and I was very jealous. It's just the rendering is absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. I want to go play Samurai, or is it Ronin? You guys tell me. And our last story before I bring our panel on, courtesy of my friends over at Pirates and Princesses. This one literally just dropped in my lap. They gave Anthony Daniels and Mark Hamill a cookie as a Star Wars parting gift. And this is by Cambria Pratt, aka Geeky Sparkles from Clownfish TV. What parting gift do you give the two actors who have been instrumental in creating one of the largest franchises in the world? Apparently, it's a gingerbread cookie, according to Anthony Daniels. And you see Mr. Daniels right there. It seems that back in 2019, after they wrapped up their final Star Wars project, Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy gave Anthony Daniels and Mark Hamill each a gingerbread cookie as a parting gift. And Daniel's cookie will now be up for auction. Wow. There isn't even a word for that. I can't even say cheap. Daniels joked that Mark Hamill told him he got a cookie, and then later he was also given one. Quote from the Hollywood Reporter says, I passed Mark Hamill on his last day, and he said, I've been in all these movies, and what I am getting as a leaving present, a cookie. And I kind of laughed. And then the same thing happened to me. I got a cookie. The Hollywood Reporter asked how he felt, and he said, how did you think I felt? Hollywood Reporter also asked why he kept the cookie instead of eating it. And he said, well, it was my leaving present. Would you eat your leaving present? I am just trying to wrap my head around the idea that after being part of Star Wars since it started, they were just given a cookie. Dang. Wow. I tell you, just when you think you've heard it all about Miss Kennedy, you get that. Literally embodiment of here's a cookie. Sounds like Dark Empress KK and her hate of real Star Wars and males. I would have ate it and left the present. Well, I do give cookies away as presents, but they are homemade and special varieties that I only make for friends. The kind that if I make them, if there's a potluck coming on at work, people are already asking me, are you bringing such and such cookies? So these are the kinds of people that I would make my best cookie recipes for. And that would be Dre, aka Vash Guy at that Park Place. We've got Retro Nerd Girl. We have Culture Casino and his fabulous, fabulous beard. And we have got Views with Hughes. How are you all doing?
Really great.
I'm wonderful.
Hi.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Oh man, I love bringing you guys here on the show. So I gotta ask you, who's worse, Rooster Teeth or Blizzard?
Ooh. Bash is muted.
Wow.
Oh, sorry about that. I said EA in the chat because that was terrible.
Oh.
But I think between the two, limited two options. Yeah, I think there was a commenter who said Blizzard protects China and its interests and has sold out its own home country. So probably that.
Yeah, I would say Blizzard too, just because of the vastness of their terribleness.
Yeah.
I'm not that familiar with games or gameplay or anything, but I do know of these companies. Rooster Teeth, I hadn't actually heard from them or of them for years now. So at least Blizzard I still hear about. So I guess Rooster Teeth, because I didn't even know they were still around.
I'll have to say Blizzard. They race what Aragorn.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't understand the hate for Blizzard because and I just started getting back into gaming, and I was just like, I don't what's all the hate about, Blizzard. And then I think I was on Loki's show. Go check him out, Loki's Mornings of Mischief. And he said, this will explain it right here. And they brought up that clip, I guess, from a convention where I guess it was for Diablo. What was it? Diablo 4? Was it Diablo 3? Either way, it was the one where they said they were only releasing it on mobile. And the crowd's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And
You have phones,
dude,
don't you?
yes. I'm like,
I remember that.
what
Wow.
did I just see?
Didn't somebody ask, like, is this like some mistimed April Fool's joke or something? Like, they were kind of in shock over the whole thing.
I'd never seen shock like that. First of all, I couldn't believe what I heard. And dude was like, is this an April Fool's joke or something like that? A game that was made famous on a PC, you're not going to release it on a PC. And rather than saying, you know what, we kind of wanted to push the mobile out first, but we're working on a PC version to give to you guys with extra speed, all of that. Just, don't you not have phones? I hope they fired that dude because he was the worst.
Terrible.
He was the absolute freaking worst. Man, I tell you, I've been out of the gaming scene for like a long time because, work and all that stuff. But starting to finally get back into gaming. Actually, I'm working on building my gaming PC. I just got this sucker in the mail. I'm so excited about it.
Nice.
It's a reverse blade, 140 millimeter fan. I'm so excited. So excited. I'm getting the Lee and Lee 120s as well with the Infinity.
Hey, you ever need any assistance? I have.
Oh yeah, I'll be
experience.
calling you, Bash, when I'm like, how come this thing won't post? What the? I have an engineering degree. I can put together. Apparently, I can't.
I want that live stream. I want to watch you put it together. Or a video. I mean, maybe you could edit it. Maybe when you're phoning a friend, maybe you don't film that.
Yeah. I'm gonna edit that, but I think it's gonna be fun. I'm excited because I realized I am way too picky to have someone build it for me. There's just certain stuff that I want to have. But
Lorena, I wanted to say congratulations on 7,000 subscribers.
Oh, thank
you. Yes.
Wow, I've been so busy today. I forgot I put that out.
Yes.
Yes, congrats.
Great job.
You guys are so awesome. I mean, thank you. I never thought 7,000. I didn't think I was gonna get 70, and I flipping started when I got peer pressured into YouTube. But it's just been a crazy ride, and I love it. And even more so, my young nieces and nephews think I'm cool. They tell their friends, my auntie has a YouTube channel. Yeah, they think it's great. They just think that they're cool. Thank you guys. Awesome. Thank you, subscribers like you, MHM35. Thank you so very much for subscribing. I still cannot believe it. I'm having fun. I hope you guys are all having fun with me. Will that need to have a family filter? No, I don't curse putting stuff together. No, I don't. My music I put on might curse, but I won't. Well, so glad 32 of you folks are in here. And to kick off our discussion about Sweet Baby, again, when I started getting back into video games, I felt like somebody who had woken up from like a coma or something, because gaming did not seem to be the way that I remembered. Gamers used to be some of the most hardcore people who was very hard to offend. Trash talking before you get that game on. That was part of the experience. That's what you did. I used to make my nephew, he's like 20 something now. I used to almost make him cry. When I'm like, no, you have to beat me. You have to beat me at Soul Calibur. I was like, no, I'm not going easy on you. You have to beat me. But I wake up and stuff like this from EA.
When it comes to big league dreams, no two are alike. Some want to swing for the fences. Some want to put on a show. Some want to perform when it's all on the line. And some want to change the game.
And it's got the entire sports world taking notice.
Whatever your big league dreams, they're yours to unlock in Road to the Show. Unlock your dreams. Own the show.
I'll kick this to the panel in a second, but when I did play Major League Baseball video games, I usually tried to play as the hot Dominican baseball player. That was my thing. The hottest, buffest looking Dominican dude. That's who I played. I do not remember women in Major League Baseball. When did this happen?
This is kind of revelation to me, to be honest with you.
Well,
I would like to say this. It's kind of cool that this is available, but I don't think that this is something that everybody's going to run to get, because it's definitely for a market of people, and I think it's really great to supply that market of people a product, but this is not going to be full scale, a home run, if you will.
A home run, right?
This is not going to have them like, oh, I got to count this money. This is not going to do it. If they're planning on attracting people, you can't just put a bunch of women in something and then say, hey, we've got something for you. The people who are interested in playing games and are interested in baseball, we're talking about we're making a smaller group of people, even smaller, and then of those people, how many are women? That we're really niching down here. But I think this kind of this video kind of implies that this is like everybody is just stammer in the streets like, please, we need this. No one asked for this. I didn't, but I'm sure there is somebody who would love this. Like, I'm sure there's one or two people out of 100 that would be like, oh yeah, I've got to play it.
I mean, I went to high school with plenty of girls who were on the softball team, and they were badass. Okay. I could totally see that happening, but it's like, you want to shoot? Okay. We'll see how this pre-order goes. WD Pro is in the chat.
Hello there.
Thank you for that $4.99 super chat.
Pro
Sponsor that Park Place, who we're actually going to bring up an article from there very, very, very soon. It says girls dream of playing in the MLB. Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I dreamed of being a homicide detective, but that was a lot different.
Well, maybe there are women who dream to be, in a professional sport league, right, or like a baseball equivalent for women. That's possible, but then to take that to the video game space, how many girls dream of playing baseball in a video game setting. Like that's, to the point prior. That's niche on niche on niche.
Yeah.
That's something.
Oh, go ahead, Truth.
Oh, I was going to say that based on what Retro New Girl said earlier, she's right. They're niching down actually because of the fact that there's, like y'all said, there's not that many women playing video games as it is, and we never heard of girls playing the MLB game. So EA is intentionally trying to market this out and stuff just to go ahead and get the ESG scores up and everything. But it's just going to be this video game is basically going to be the Marvels and Madam Web of video games because of the fact that they're reaching out to the wrong people. Not to mention they're also, trying to go ahead and make it about, girls and everything. But it also reminds me of that one show that used to be on Fox before it was canceled. I think after 1 or 2 seasons where a black woman became a player for the San Diego Padres and everything. And you know what? It's like people don't want to see themselves in video games like that, like they think they want to, because of the simple fact that EA, they went on ahead and go ahead and decide to continue to go woke, which is not surprised because hey, it's Sony PlayStation, and right now, not even the Japanese want PlayStations though. Americans do, people in the West do, but not people in Japan. You know what's selling over in Japan? Nintendo Switch.
Yes. And I have one because I like it. And to be honest, if they really wanted to make money and they wanted to put women in baseball, this way make me sound sexist, but I really don't care. This is the Spice Lounge show. I would make this into a bikini baseball league.
Hello.
Lorena, I think that's a great idea.
I would so flip and do that. I'm pretty sure you would have plenty of guys buying that game. They might spend more time in the character creator than they would have.
Or even women's volleyball would be like really,
there you go.
I said it this morning, Retro Nerd Girl. I didn't mean to talk over you, but I said that this morning, right? I mean, as long as the jiggle physics are in place, I mean, a lot of guys are going to spend some time doing that. But I and maybe I get canceled for that statement. But I'm going to tell you this: as somebody who actually plays this game, MLB The Show, I've been playing it for maybe almost a decade now, I think. And I'm one of those people. I'll buy the game every year if there's an upgrade. Otherwise, I'll wait till it comes out for free, because actually this is sometimes through the PlayStation Store comes out for free, so you can get it for free. It usually isn't asking a premium price. This year, the digital deluxe edition of this is $99. So
what?
Yeah. So and that includes everything, including a bunch of what they call, baseball card packs, which have cards in them and certain benefits and pieces of equipment to pick up that can benefit you in different aspects of the game. And I played hundreds of hours of this game. In fact, if you go over to my PlayStation 5 right now, that's probably the thing that's like on pause right now, in pause mode, right, while it's sleeping. I love the game. I love it. And here's the weird thing. The only place that this is a playable part of the game is in something called Road to the Show. Road to the Show is where you create your own character. So yes, you will have character creation. I will definitely, if I do decide to get this game right now, I don't think I'm going to, but if I were to get this game, I'm definitely going to max out the rack on my chick, right? Because I'm going to definitely play the chick the first time I play anything. Sorry, I'm just telling them the way it is. And I'm gonna make her a most ridiculous like max stats person I can, like I would if I was playing 2K, hoop or whatnot, right? So, but it's not going to change the fundamentals of the baseball game. The problem is that you can certainly have ladies seeing themselves playing baseball, but they can't even. They would not be able to compete at a high school or college level, because we've seen. And look, there's a lot of wonderfully competitive women's softball out there. And somebody tried to tell me today that that's a huge, huge spectator sport and one that makes a lot of money on television. and then I hit him with the facts
on television.
No, but at the same time, it's unrealistic, and yet the stats are certainly going to be male to female very similar. So I anticipate this game to basically be like, playing as a woman, but still having all the male attributes, and I think that's going to really rob that experience. Could I see this as like playing in an all women's baseball league? Yes, I could. Did we have a couple of those before in our past? Yes, we did. Did people go and see those games? Of course, there was a war going on. So that was like, and baseball's a pastime in the United States. So, and there was a great movie made about it, and then a terrible television show. But the idea that they're incorporating it in here is exactly what Hughes said. He was 1,000% on base. It is the pursuit of these corporate equity index points, the ESG score junk, all of that stuff. And in some cases, I would imagine DEI probably figured into all of this. But at the same time, you have to ask yourself, is this a selling point for this game or not? Is the game going to sell with or without females being in that part of the game? I mean, you're not going to see female baseball players in the other parts of the game, just in this one area called Road to the Show. And again, that's a character you create and try to move up through the ranks to get to the pro level and then compete at the pro level. If that's something somebody wants to see or see themselves doing, I guess it's fine. I just don't see it as a selling point for the game. I think that's the most important thing. And so when I step back as a businessman, I'm like, I don't know if there's any money here.
Same. I'm just like, it's like what I'm going to drop. Even if I am a chick watching this, and I'm going to drop $90 on a game where I can only make a female character in this small part of it. From an economic standpoint, it doesn't really make sense to me.
Well, you can still spend the $60, right? But because you can get the $60 one. I spend the extra.
Oh,
extra.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, you give us a great segue into one of our main topics. And Fork 501, thank you so much for that $5 super chat, my dear. $5 because you got culture to say, max out the rack of my chick in a serious, well thought out context. Well, I did tee him up when I talked about the Bikini Baseball League.
and retro nerd girl set me up with the volleyball thing. So yeah, we were off to the races.
Perfect.
Wasn't that a video game though? Was it like okay?
Yeah.
If it wasn't, it should be. No.
Okay, I was gonna say I do remember playing that. I do remember playing that.
Retro's just like, what did I do? What have I unleashed?
Well, I'm like thinking of at least like 20 other like interesting ideas, but I'm not even sure if they've been done. But a car wash game would be actually kind of cool.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Women's
How to
golf.
play football.
Women's
No,
golf.
it was a lingerie football league. That's what it was called.
Oh, boy.
Well, folks, if you want to hire me to consult on your video games,
That's
you
a
can
good
go
one.
to me at my Gmail.
Yes.
I got plenty of ideas for you.
I mean,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Sorry.
No, I think there's like something wrong. Like we've become this like society that hates anything to do with the female body being voluptuous or being seen in a way that's not like completely covered up. I mean, I myself like to cover up, but I remember the days when I loved the good mini skirt. And I still want to be able to have the choice whether to do that or not. It shouldn't really matter. But it just seems like there's an aversion to, like, if a woman is wearing a bikini, that is sexist. Like, what is sexist about wearing a bikini? Or someone who is really proud of their bodies enough to want to show it, or let's say you've been working out and you're really toned and you're like, I've got have a six pack. I want to show these abs.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I feel like the lines are being put into these boxes of black and white, and instead of revealing the nuance of what it is to really be human, and it's robbing us of something special, I think.
I agree. And that's when I hear about companies like Sweet Baby, basically akin to sensitivity readers of what you should or let's say what they advise you, what should or should not be put into video games for a specific audience. So it's not, and this is how I read this, and culture is going to be my point person on this. What I get from this CEO, she's Kim Belair, I watched a couple of her presentations. What I get from her is that it seems to be personally offensive to her that the gaming base is predominantly male, predominantly white, predominantly heterosexual. When I was in gaming, nobody cared about that. What we cared about, are we going to get a game that we can play that I'm not going to waste money on? Am I going to have fun playing it? Am I going to play it until, I wind up destroying the game and then I got to go buy another copy or something like that? No, it's not about appealing to all gamers and possibly saying, hey, maybe to better reflect the country, we'll put a couple of other characters of other ethnicities because that's what people see today. But that's it. The story is still there. The game is still kick-ass. Not trying to set these games up where you can't have women be, like Retro Nerd Girl put it, beautiful and feminine and voluptuous. We can't have that. We can't have that. That's unrealistic standards. That's the quote unquote male gaze. You
I
need
forgot
to
one more thing
have.
in that.
Oh, which one? I probably didn't get to it yet, but.
No. When you described like the type of females, and I sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
Oh, no
they
worries.
also had a lot of feminine video game characters looking more masculine in the arms and in the face too.
Yes, and that's exactly what I mean. That's the other thing. It's like femininity again. They see the quote unquote male gaze as a problem. But what they don't understand is that people like to look at attractive people. Attractive women like to look at attractive women. And I don't see what's wrong with that. But apparently, for this particular company, there is something wrong with that. They want you to be inclusive. They want you to be diverse. They want that over the credibility of how good the game is. So I'm going to tee this over to culture to take us down this Sweet Baby Inc. rabbit hole. So from that Park Place, by John Trent, Sweet Baby Inc. CEO and co-founder Kim Belair compares white male gamers to picky babies.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, this is not the first time that she's said something that would be offensive to gamers, specifically people who are differently melanined in the gaming space and happen to fall into one of the categories that I personally find offensive. The words that she uses is cis. She uses a lot of words that are very offensive to me. But it's not the first time, going back all the way, and I think we have this down below, going back to the Game Development Conference back in 2019, and where she talks about the fact that, we could probably watch it. Do you think we could watch it?
Yeah, I have a clip of that, actually.
Yeah.
Thanks to Grums, who has definitely a lot of cred as a software developer.
Yeah.
According to him in this tweet, and he is dead on, Sweet Baby used fear, intimidation, and a threat of cancellation to get studios to make their games carry their political narrative. This is the founder's own words. So from Game Nosh, she's going to explain, just listen to her in her own words, how she puts this. And you tell me, does this sound like a consultant who's just offering up suggestions? Or is this someone who has a chip on her shoulder and something to prove and is using this company to do it?
Oh, no voice, no sound.
Oh, no sound?
No
Yeah,
audio.
no. Yeah, so real quickly to set this up, this is a very aggressive statement that she makes, and how to go about manipulating or changing how game companies approach things by basically leveraging them. There are other words that could be used, like extortion, coercion, stuff like that.
I think she said even that you make them realize how or threat. I think she actually may have used a word like threaten. There was a strong word that she used.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's definitely not cool.
Yeah.
And it's upsetting because I don't think anybody deserves, and especially doing a job, you should not be encountering individuals that are trying to bully you into doing something that is probably something you're not with your good mind and thoughts. Hey, this is not going to make us money, right? But hey, it is going to look bad on what she was saying is like it's going to look bad on the company for social media and things like that if you don't do what we tell you to do, which is rather scathing.
Does this company have a board of its own, like a board of directors and stuff?
Yes, Anvix has the right word. She said terrify. Like what?
Yes.
That's the word.
And you can hear that in her own words.
Yeah, let's hear it in her own words. Yeah.
Yeah, because this is not a TED talk.
No.
You listen to the language that she uses.
Put this stuff up to your higher ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want. If you're a creative working in triple.
Yeah.
Terrified.
If they don't give you what you want. Even when I was a consultant, I couldn't even imagine doing something like that. Going up to a marketing department and going to terrify them into doing what I want them to do. Really?
It's institutionalized. I don't know. Wokeism is such a, well, it's overused, right? It's institutionalized progressivism, Marxism.
Well,
it's because if you get with these consultational firms like this one right here, you have better ESG credit. There are incentives for your company to do this, and all these guys deliver robust returns both to shareholders and both to your products and everything like that, and they kind of buy into this. But in actuality, it's a grift. It's a grift to try to in an attempt to change the culture profoundly through these products. Go ahead, Culture.
No, I just to add to that the problem is that we've seen this, and I think Hughes was speaking about it just a minute ago. We've seen this creep into all games. This company's been around longer than we knew about, and they've been involved to a varying degree and very deeply into some of these games, especially some of the most recent epic flops, like the latest Batman series game, Kill the Justice League, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Yeah. And I mean, but that's not it. They've been involved in tons and tons of stuff, and it's all led the wrong direction. You have so what this did is it got a bunch of gamers engaged on Steam, because in Steam you can form communities and create groups and things like that. So they created a group over there that is a curator group, which basically breaks down all of the different titles that this group, Sweet Baby Inc., is involved in. And the group is called Sweet Baby Inc. Detected. And it basically uses for its exemplars, and obviously Lorraine already has this up here. Look at how many followers there are. It's almost 200,000 right now.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So when you look at that and you go, okay, this didn't start out very big a couple of weeks ago, and now it's enormous. And so, so this group got founded and uses as exemplars the very website that the Sweet Baby Inc. website. So when they go through here and people push back on stuff, they say, well, this is right from their website. And then they talk about the game and they say, this game is not recommended. This game is not recommended. This game is not recommended. And you could see these problems in Valhalla. You could see them in the last Gotham Knights game. You could see it in like all of these various games. And of course, I don't think they were able to keep Saints Row in here because the game wasn't on Steam. But the new Saints Row was
that's Rocksteady, right?
Rocksteady is no, that was Volition. That was an Embracer thing, but it doesn't matter. That was all because of Sweet Baby Inc. And obviously, Volition they went out of business. Rocksteady just did the game we were talking about, the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Do you think that studio is going to be around very long? The two founders, I think, back in I want to say 2020, in the middle of this development of this game, walked away from it and started a new studio.
Wow.
Two of the founders left. So it's like they knew what was going on and they knew what it eventually would lead to. So this group is incredibly powerful. And so now we're in a weird place where we've pushed so hard and now this is a mainstream story that you now have organizations out there, games media, I'm using in quotes right here, running cover for there you go. Loretta's on top of it all.
Oh yeah, I got the receipts.
running cover for everything that Sweet Baby's been doing, and they lie. This is an outright lie. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to let somebody read through this article who's got a better voice than I do because mine's strained right now. But I'm just going to say, Kotaku's not in good shape, folks. They just are stretching the last shred of any kind of remote credibility they could possibly have with somebody. But they're in bad shape. They're owned by Geo Media, and they're constantly folding things or trying to shed things right now. They just got rid of that Jezebel thing, and they're
Jezebel.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. Anyway, somebody walk through this article because I think it's great.
Oh, well, I certainly will. But it looks like we're about to lose Hughes with Hughes.
No.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just I gotta go ahead and help out with the misses and everything.
No worries.
Understood.
Yeah, she's trying to recover and everything, and I need to be there for her.
Well,
but I do want to say about this though.
Please.
Yes.
All right, I get quick question. Does this company, Sweet Baby Inc., does it have a board of its own, like the board of directors and stuff?
I mean,
there may be a board of a guiding board, but for right now, I mean, the person that's front and center here is the CEO, Miss Belair, and she's
co-founder.
Yeah. I just think it's the two of them.
Probably a slim corporate structure, I would imagine.
Probably.
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted there.
Yeah, you're muted, Hughes.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I was asking because I guarantee you that if there's no board of directors and everything, then they're going to feel it and feel the power of the purse as well as a lot of men keeping their wallets closed and keep their money in their bank accounts because y'all saw that God of War, they that company helped to create that game and stuff. That's some of the gamers out there, learn about the next game, God of War game to come out and everything. They might not buy it because they're gonna remember what she said and everything, and it's like she's gonna continue to double down on this and on this backlash and everything. And then it's also going to be those like who are minorities and everything who either may continue buying it or may stop buying the games as well because the simple fact that the CEO decided to go ahead and get political at the time and with the platform that needs no politics. And it's like she's not learning the lesson of other companies, especially Rooster Teeth, because of the fact that she's gonna go ahead and I know Rooster Teeth, that's something different, but at the same time, it's like this backlash is gonna go ahead and affect it majorly and stuff. Now, her response to the backlash, that's also going to be a big factor in everything about how she's going to respond to it, how they're going to receive it. Because if she double down on her comments and everything that she's saying about a certain demographic, that very demographic, she's going to learn real quick is her core audience, and she's going to lose that core audience and stuff, and then she's going to end up trying to have them to make games that's going to end up where she's going to make a market it to a certain different demographic that's not a part of her core audience and everything, and then they're going to lose for the much more money.
Yeah, she did. They interviewed her in this article. Kotaku interviewed her.
But I guarantee you, like all these trades and everything, like the Kotaku blog and all that, they're gonna do it, but for so long and everything, to the point where now they're gonna go ahead and actually turn their backs on the company and the CEO, but in a nice, aloof, and gentle manner.
And that's the views from Hughes.
That's right.
Thank you so much, my dear. Where can people find you?
Oh, y'all know where I can find me, here on YouTube as well as on Rumble. Where I deliver to you the latest pop culture news and everything, as well as various updates and some commentary, where I try my best to go ahead and keep it agenda free without a political bias. So Lorena, Vash, Sky Dre, Nerd Girl, and Culture Casino, thank you all for having me. I hope to see you all next time in the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Dre has all the cool sound effects.
I try to help
out.
Well, there are like 46 of you folks watching. Thank you so very much. We are talking about Sweet Baby Inc. And it took them about 2 days, but it looks like the Gamer Press has finally put something out here. Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't do what some gamers think it does. No, one company isn't forcing diversity into all your favorite video games. I would say, yeah, it's not just one company, but you guys happen to unmask yourselves first. So you catch that flack. Let's see. Sweet Baby Inc. is not the largest narrative design company in the games industry, nor is it solely responsible for the characters and stories in recent high-profile releases like Alan Wake 2, God of War Ragnarok, even worse, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. But good luck telling some gamers that. That just sounds so peaceful, doesn't it?
Well, the person with the byline here, Alyssa Marcante, she doesn't have the best of reputations. She was one of the people that wasn't crazy nice to Kara Creates.
Okay, you on my list now, girl.
Yeah,
Kara's my girl,
and she's again, it's all these people that are politically aligned with these extremist positions and these activists. They seem to come out of the woodwork. This is one of them. Yeah, and look, I mean, it's kind of disrespectful to say that. They're not solely responsible. Sure, they weren't the publisher of the game. They maybe didn't animate the characters. That maybe they didn't design the wireframes. Maybe they didn't write all the story. Maybe they didn't know the narrative direction. But if you look at the things that the services that Sweet Baby Inc. provides, they can and do everything in a game. It actually says that the 4 elements that they provide, if you just look at their website, tell you not only do they do the narrative design, but they are capable of doing an entire game if you would like them to. Says so on their website.
Yeah, matter of fact, I'll flip over here.
There it is. Yeah.
Here's their website.
Bingo.
Yep.
Writing, narrative, representation, development.
Yeah.
You played yourself.
Yeah, yeah, so they do everything in writing. It says, if you read it, it says from cinematics to barks and everything in between. We tackle every type of writing for any type of game. We bring excitement, emotion, and character to the forefront and aren't afraid of breaking something down to build it back up, which is, hey, we're neo-Marxist. We're going to destroy everything that you understand about story making so that we can put our radical ideas right front and center in your game. That's what they do. That's what radicals do. So,
yeah, right there. They do story pitches, world building, character creation, narrative design, story feedback, and tweaks and more. It's all here. What they do, everything here is what they do. So, Kotaku,
yeah,
you're not solely responsible, but you have a good amount of responsibility, because it is not a coincidence that why do we start seeing all these games that have been coming out over the years that seem to have this same overall representation over story, and no one would really complain if they were kick-ass games, but they're not, and that's the problem. But you're trying to blame people not buying the game, saying that they don't want to see people color in a game, which is a shield, and that's insulting.
It's really disturbing, especially coming from a former Bethesda fan like myself. Huge Bethesda fan. Love Skyrim. Love Morrowind, Oblivion, Fallout for sure.
I'm playing Fallout 3 and 4.
Oh, nice. Very, very nice. Fallout 3 is very, very good. But Starfield just recently came out, and that was seen pretty early on upon its release. Whoa, something's a little bit different here. If you want to share my screen just for a second there.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You can see those are supposed to be female characters, or maybe they identify as female right there in the middle of your screen right there.
I can't.
I know. I mean, this was really something right here. And then obviously you have people who, characters in the game talking about pronouns and so forth. It was like, whoa, this was never part of a Bethesda game. What are we talking about here? Now, the game was poorly conceived, and obviously the gameplay wasn't that fun. I think Todd Howard was on record saying months before this release that the game just started to get fun at this point. It was like, okay, you have problems. But so it wasn't all of this, but this didn't do it any favors here. And this is the thing. I mean, for Bethesda fans, for Bethesda game fans, if we look at the top mods of Skyrim of all time, right? These are the top mods that you can get when you're going to Nexus. A lot of them will be appearance-based mods, like Race Menu, for example, to be able to sculpt your character exactly how you want it. Skin mods, body mods, face mods, all kinds of stuff in order to deliver NPC characters that don't basically look like this. And so that was very alarming. And a lot of modders were like, you know what? We're not even going to bother modding this game. It's just not good enough. It's just bad. It's horrible. There's no redeeming qualities here, which is very surprising because Skyrim is still has an active modding scene to this day. But to see Sweet Baby Inc. be involved in the creation of this game and to see where this game went, where it otherwise probably wouldn't have. Yeah, they're definitely in the development cycle of these things, and they're hurting the games that they are contributing to. I'm sure with the information brought forward today, and others have, and the Steam listing and so forth. I'm sure if your game has Sweet Baby Inc. at all connected to it, what are we saying? Like maybe 5, 10, maybe 15% loss in sales just right off the bat. That's going to be a hard pill to swallow for a lot of executives who aren't necessarily thrilled with having to spend as much as they are developing these games, especially AAA or quadruple A titles, as Ubisoft has recently said.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Director No Girl.
Oh, I like you said, I do admire games. There are some that I've been able to see some ads for, and I do like to watch the cutscenes and things like that. And I know you can go in there and create your own character. You can make them look like yourself, or you can make them look like, someone completely different. And like Casino was saying earlier, I know a lot of guys like to make their avatars girls and and make them I think it's great. I mean, it's there's something very, I don't mind the idea of, the diversity. It originally comes from a good place where it may have started and originated, but some of this seems a little bit twisted. And not only the word forced is definitely coming to mind, because it is not just forced. It's almost forced with the threat of violence, like to terrify, if you don't do this, people are going to think they're going to destroy you in social media, or you're going to look like one of those companies that don't care about POC, or you don't like women. And I think it's very how did we ever get by earlier? Like when I think back at some of the earlier bits of entertainment where there really was like hardly any diversity, like what did we do then? We were okay. Okay, we were okay. But I'm not saying that we should go back to those times. I'm saying that at least think about the creativity that's involved in the project. I know there was I'm not sure which company it was from Japan that did say no to any kind of diversity complaints. I think they were came out publicly and said, no, we're not changing our characters to make them suit your needs. And these are the characters. We do have some characters that are of POC, and please just that's it.
Was that the Tekken? Was that the developer from the guy from the owner? I'm forgetting the guy's name, but I think on Twitter. Oh, Stellar Blade. Okay. Oh yeah, I got a video coming out about that in about another week or so. Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally respect that, because they've created the content, and so they can do whatever it is that they want to do with the content. My thing is just create, see the baseball thing. I was like, okay, it's its own thing. It's not interjecting into something else entirely. So there's a little bit more leeway for that. Whereas is you're taking a game that everybody's playing and is expected to know from an IP, and then changing it fundamentally. The Suicide Squad, people really hated that game.
Narratively, it was bad. The storytelling was bad. Everything about it was bad. So yeah, I mean, you're right on the mark there. People hated that game, all of it, just the whole game.
Yeah, and so it's really interesting. Like if you're going to do something that's off the beaten path, or something that's that has a great deal of diversity in it, if you're going to make that thing. But I think going into an established IP, going into established games, and trying to make something that isn't natural to the story. There is one of the games, I believe it is the Vikings, and there's I know sometimes you can have one or two characters that may be black, but there was there's supposed to be there was one black character that seemed so out of place in it, and that people were actually asking what is this character doing in this game? And I forgot which one it was. It was about the Vikings.
The latest God of War, I think.
Is that the one, the God of War? Because it was really awkward.
I saw that. Yeah, it was, and we're just why?
Yeah, And that's why people are feeling like it's forced. If it was like a god from a region that was away from this, was it sort of like, oh, an encroaching kind of situation, or just the storyline worked its way to make sense for that character to be there, I think that would be great. But it doesn't seem. I think they're just plopping characters into situations without giving people a reason to want to have them or accept them in the space.
Exactly. But to continue with this this article, to kind of wrap it up, let's see, why don't we go down? First of all, they admit to collating information not only from the Steam group but also Kiwi Farms. Yeah. So this is journalism. Yeah. Kiwi Farms. But anyway, let's get down here to what bad actors think companies like Sweet Baby Inc. do. So we gamers who
you're the bad actor. Kotaku, you're the bad actor.
Yes.
The villains don't recognize they're the villain. Sorry.
No. I mean, people were minding their own business. You know, you had the Steam group where they're just like, hey, we're just letting you know things look kind of fishy, and they all seem to, point to this one company. No one would have said jack about it, but one of your employees or from Sweet Baby Inc. had to go in and start trying to get people banned and all that on Steam, and it all went from there. So the games industry has had its fair share of struggles lately, from massive layoffs to wildly expensive games like the Suicide Squad falling short of expectations. The Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Falling short of expectations is an understatement. That game was so bad, people were posting video of how it ended because that game was such ass. And the way that they treated Batman, I mean, I'm not even a DC fan, and I'm like, that's disrespectful as hell. Oh, and pissing on the Flash. Don't forget that.
Yeah, that was probably.
Yeah. So this is what we're talking about. According to the loudest members of the Sweet Baby Inc. detected Discord, I didn't know there was a Discord group, the company is directly responsible for those failures, not the studios that employed them in the first place, because of the content Sweet Baby allegedly forces into games. Let me say this, as a consultant, the reason why you're a consultant is so the companies can turn around and pin what doesn't work on you. They have an out. They have a scapegoat. This is what they told us to do. They said it would work. They got paid for their services. They have to sign NDAs so they can't, so they can't reveal that type of stuff.
Oof.
So yeah. It's not this. You can say it's the studio's fault, but it's not. It's not.
The dirty game of gaming, huh? Right.
Yes.
By the way, the connections to Sweet Baby Inc. and Gamergate, that's another kind of.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, because let's see, what did I do? I actually started that. Where are you, CJ? Where are you? Because I saw my chat's moving so fast. Over 50 of you folks in here hanging out with us. Thank you so very much. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to all my folks here on the panel. At the height of her power, Zoe Quinn made R-word allegations. A guy yeeted himself. The gaming journalists have each other's backs, and Quinn was basically getting down dirty with all of them. And guess who has ties with Zoe? Everyone at SBI. Yes. Yes.
I guess it's funded by Baby Ghost. Baby Ghost co-founder is Eileen Halaka. Eileen Halaka's brother was Alec Halaka, and Halaka was the boyfriend to Zoe Quinn. So it's crazy how this whole, it's all the same group here that has just infested. Might be.
Oh, go ahead,
Might
Culture.
be.
No, I was just saying. I was just adding to what Vash was saying. It's a Gamergate too. I mean, look, this crazy lady, this Kim Bel-Air person, was featured all the way back a couple of years ago in a Medium article talking about the things that she's influencing. Which include a Goodbye Volcano High, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, NeoCab, all the things that they have up on their website, and all the different groups that they've been working with, including obviously this latest disaster, this Skull and Bones video game from Ubisoft being a dump truck. So it's just this isn't getting better.
No. Darn shame. I used to love Ubisoft, and then they just, what the heck is all this stuff? But let's see. This is one of the CEOs, isn't it? I think so. See, the prevailing theory is that if it weren't Sweet Baby, Saga Anderson would have been portrayed by a white woman. Is that true? Well, it's impossible to say, but doesn't matter. Melanie Liber did a great job in the role. Kyle Rowley says it's absolutely not true. I see the words, but I can't say I believe him, considering what we've been seeing in games lately with the race swapping and everything. It's like there's reasonable doubt, but nah, you're not completely off the hook. Even the games that are widely considered to be successes are not safe from these conspiracy theories. Alan Wake 2 game director, we just showed that on March 3rd, to dispel rumors that Sweet Baby was the reason, when we talked about this, Saga Anderson was Black. But apparently, Rowley's concise statements and similar ones made by other industry members have not silenced conspiracy theorists. It's not a conspiracy when people start connecting the dots and there's enough doubt and proof in things that have come out. Lots of people have brought this up in videos and, blog posts and posts on Twitter. Why is it that these games seem to start acting like this, portrayed this way? Why is it that all of a sudden, not one here, two here, or independent studios here, why is it, especially these AAA titles, all of a sudden their emphasis is crazily focused on diversity and inclusion and the games suck? Something's going on. So it's not a conspiracy theory, although you would like to tell us that.
Well, and even if it is, it's only 6 months from the truth, right? Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It's it's crazy. You have this, you have Kotaku running cover for Sweet Baby Inc. It's like I said, Culture said it best. It's GG2. This is what it is, and it's extremely disturbing. It's extremely profound. They want this to continue, but I have not seen as much. I guess. What do you want to say?
Sorry, this part. Sorry.
Yeah, I know.
It's forcing diversity is happening. The lady said that that she actually
correct.
Girl.
She said it. She said that she is forcing it by threatening people. Like, I don't understand this. This is really a lie.
Absolutely a lie. It's ridiculous. I just can't. I don't even understand how they could even try to make this claim. The evidence is out there. By the way, you don't have to go deep down this rabbit hole to know very quickly. Yeah. I'm
sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. Go, please.
No, I was going to say, because I have to go grab my tea really, really quick.
Sure.
Why don't you guys talk about or give some examples of what is forced diversity as opposed to naturally occurring diversity?
Naturally occurring, pretty simple, right? Back in the day when GTA San Andreas came out, it featured a black protagonist, right? CJ,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And for the area that they were depicting there, which is, I believe, kind of a what is it? A fictional Los Angeles, is that kind of right?
Was it like East LA?
Yeah.
East LA, yeah.
So it's like in that area, it's like, well, that's absolutely appropriate, and nobody had a problem with it. Nobody was like, "Oh, I can't believe they did." No. In fact, back in the day, Rockstar used to be on the other side of this equation, but that's a whole nother story. But it was included in there. Everybody was fine. Nobody reacted to it whatsoever. And it's just when you have an appropriate setting where that makes sense, it's like, okay, ain't no issues. But when you go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, please.
No. I think I think I know where you're going, and that's where I was going. Go ahead.
No. Go.
Okay. When you force it, right? When you place these characters or these especially pronoun individuals in these different places, in these contexts that they don't necessarily make sense, that's where it pulls you out. And honestly, gaming is probably, next to theme parks, is probably the truest form of escapism, right? And so it's all about believability, immersion, right? To thrust you in there, especially in the VR.
Don't mess with that for people.
Right. It takes you right out of it.
And the thing is you mentioned that, and then it goes, I go to a Rockstar game, GTA 6, 5, the one that came out that's been around for a decade plus now. And that had natural diversity, organic diversity. It brought together 3 people that never would have ever met ever, really. I mean, and certainly 2 of them that only met through happenstance because they were doing some kind of a heist. And that game, top to bottom, left to right, covers every branch of humanity organically. And that's the term, right? It's organic diversity. And this is a natural way to get from point A to point B. It's not like creating some kind of a narrative where you have to insert something that doesn't belong there. That's forced diversity, which again, you guys, you actually, a retro nerd girl gave an example of that with the God of War game. You all, I think, also some of the Assassin's Creed games have had, or at least most recently. And the weirdest thing of all is that if your game takes giant steps backwards, despite all of the technology and advantages that you have, it speaks to something that's not just about, quote unquote, the diversity of it all, but they talk more about diversity, not just in the game itself that we see visually and that we interact with tactily. They're talking about it also inside their organizations and the people that are creating these things. And the problem is that you force diversity in that area, you are not going to get the best possible results, because there are a lot of people with zero merit involved in a lot of things that didn't learn, didn't grow, didn't get there to where that they're participating in teams that they don't belong in. I mean, and an example of that would be the game that just came out. Like I said, I mentioned it a moment ago, that Skull and Bones game from Ubisoft.
Yeah.
They took leaps and bounds steps backwards compared to just the Assassin's Creed game, Black Flag, from a decade before. Am I right?
That was embarrassing.
Yeah. And so it's like, okay, this is a great game. 10 years ago, you made no improvements on any of this. And so, like I said, for groups like these lunatics at Sweet Baby Inc. and others, and by the way, do you happen to have that list, Lorena, of the other groups we need to keep an eye on?
You know what? Can you?
I think I've got it.
Yeah, I think of a lot of things, but I can't think of everything.
This is and I just shared it, and this is going, and this is courtesy of Asmongold, right? So it's this verifiable. So if you go here, and he gives credit to somebody else who's on here as well, but this is part of the discussion group that he's in, and it comes out, okay, so Sweet Baby Inc. everybody knows about, and then you have this group called Black Girl Gamer.
I know that one, yes.
Then another one called Hit Detection, then Balance Patch, then Silverstring Media, Stone Mare Games, Gamer X, see how that's spelled, James Mendes Hodes, I guess he does workshops. I don't know. Dragon Baby, right? Of course, Anita Sarkeesian, who's
the famous,
the most terrible human being on the planet. Weird Ghosts. Okay, this is important. Weird Ghosts is an incubator. And if you go there, which you're welcome to visit, all these are websites. They're the ones that are actually help funding other terrible things to happen to places and stuff. So you have Weird Ghosts. You have, I think, Baby Ghosts are also there, but it's not listed here, but it's another one. Infinite Ammo Inc. And that's they fund Weird Ghosts, which supports SBI. See how they're all interrelated? Gamma Space, which is also related to SBI. That's Sweet Baby Inc. for those of you out in the audience. And Cozy Comet Games, who is also related to SBI. So you can see they're getting a lot of behind the scenes, hidden, like channeled, funneled funding from many different places. So it's so the funniest comment here from Asmongold is the rot goes much deeper than we realize.
Oh, yeah. This is like if you find one mouse in the house, there's plenty of them in the walls, which for Professor X means time to play. But it's the truth. If this is only the beginning, sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Absolutely.
And people like Asmongold, there's so many people who are diving into this, especially check out the group on Steam.
Yes.
As well. Sweet Baby Inc. Detected. Trust me, I'm reading through the list like, no wonder that freaking game sucked. And that one sucked. And why I wasn't interested in that one. Forspoken, I was almost gonna buy that. But something looked really off. And then when gameplay and like the scripting leaked of the game, I'm like, this is atrocious.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, it's a shame because we lost whole game studios and we're going to lose more. We lost Volition. Volition was awesome. Saints Row was one of my favorite games ever. I bought the special second edition. I might actually have that close by. I'll be right back. I love that studio. I'm mad now.
Yeah, Baryon
says
says no.
Oh, hey, Baryon.
Yeah, whole studios. I think eventually you're going to see like I think like Helldivers 2. I think that's like a really small indie studio. I think the pendulum is going to switch back to these smaller studios with like smaller groups of people, heads down, working on stuff. I think that's honestly where you're going to find, the most creativity. Oh yeah, Baryon, you don't trust what anybody says at face value. You always go check it out for yourself. Even what we say on this show, we are not trying to tell you what to do. We're just pointing you to the information to go and check out and make your own decision.
And there ain't no fake gamers here, kids, because this is my copy, Saints Row 2 Collector's Edition for PS3.
Oh man!
Yeah, this came with a 232 cartridge that was actually a USB drive that had all the DLC on it. So you could actually, so you loaded up the game in your PS3, you plugged in your your bullet. Do you have it?
No, I don't have that, but I got something for you. Give me a second. Yeah. I'll go ahead and stop my camera for a second.
I can't even go over and get my games because they're on the other side. They're on the other side of the room.
I have 20% of all of my media in here because of the bookcases, all the books and everything. But also I've got like about 20% of the DVD collection next to me as well. So. But in front of me is another cabinet that is loaded up with PS2 and PS3 games. So yeah, I'm a lunatic.
Well, dude, because of the new computer build, I'm gonna wind up moving stuff around in this studio. It's pretty bad. It's like I'm gonna have to redesign it around all of that and have like my gaming stuff over there. You can't
Vash is like
over that way.
Listen to
Yeah. Taking into crates and whatnot. But while we wait for him to come back, because he'll be like on point pretty shortly.
Yeah.
50 of you folks in here watching. Thank you so very much. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure that you let people know the Spice Lounge is here. We are hanging out. We are having a good time. You got a Pip-Boy?
This is the Pip-Boy Legendary Edition.
Hang on, I gotta pull that up.
Of Fallout 4 back in the day. Oh, yes. Absolutely. 100%. I even got the, what is it? The mini nuke, right? And stuff like that. I have to show you guys a picture.
Do you have Nuka-Cola?
I do have Nuka-Cola. Yes, I do. I'll show you a picture of all this because I have it all stored. But that right there, Fallout 4, Pip-Boy Collector's Edition, right there. So
Wow.
I got it, man. I was in there. But unfortunately,
Vault-Tec approved.
Vault-Tec approved. Yeah, it is. It is. It was kind of cool too because back in the day you could link up your phone and put like your phone in the Pip-Boy, and then it would give you the stats from the game. It was awesome. Wow. So cool. But anyway, yes. Switching.
That is switching to over here to Disney from that park place, courtesy of Lou Wasserman's Ghost, who's been a guest on the show. What's black and white and red all over? Nelson Peltz' Trian white paper. And if you're wondering why is that important? Well, folks, we have got the next annual shareholders meeting where not only do you get the company sycophants, but peons such as myself who have a couple of shares of Disney stock can actually participate. And if we're lucky, we may get to ask Bob Iger a question that has not been filtered or screened. In contrast to that, Peltz is going to have his own town hall for shareholders, which I did submit a question actually for Jay Rizzullo, but Disney put out something like, oh, well, they're making these claims, they're making that claim, and that's not true, and that's not true. And you know what? Nelson Peltz, basically bitch slapped him with this white paper. 130 slides, which is up on Restoring the Magic website. But hey, it's got attention. So with that, I'll put it over to Vash there.
Well, let's take a look at some of those slides. We're not going to look at the whole thing because this thing is just ridiculous. You want to go ahead and share my screen there just
because it is a monster. Trust me. Just read like the first 10 slides and then let it sit and come back and read the rest.
It's a lot. And they tell you to vote for the blue card, by the way, back at that, right there at the down below.
Vote blue.
That's right. This a big meaty document. I mean, this had to have taken a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money to put this whole thing together. I just want to go ahead and point out just a couple of things, some things that I'm trying not to overlap with the coverage that we've already had, give you some new stuff and kind of dive into this a little bit. So, but why is this? Why do this? Why are they seeking representation on this board? Nelson Peltz and Jay Rizzullo. Well, they say it right here. Root cause of underperformance, Disney's board. We believe the board suffers from a culture that impedes effective oversight. The directors, in our view, lack focus, alignment, and accountability, causing the board to fail at fulfilling its primary responsibilities, which is strategy oversight, M&A and capital allocation, right? Because the Fox deal and the $71 billion that was purchased by Bob Iger before, I don't know, just hand the keys over to Chapek and say, you deal with it. It's absolutely incredible. The culture stifles dissenting views, no accountability. I mean, think about Susan Arnold. Think about Jay Rizzullo himself, Ike Perlmutter, all these people who have contributed to making this company what it is, and it just seems like they've been forced out. And Iger has kind of centralized power in a way that people you better agree with him and his vision, essentially, right? Chronic succession problems have created a leadership void. Succession processes lack rigor. That's correct. Compensation alignment and shareholder engagement. So that's kind of what they're saying right now of this board right here. And it's just to give you an idea of how bad this is, how bad this capturing is for this board right here. I love this. I love this slide. Where is it? It is. I just want to see
Can I
here.
just point out just how nice and colorful this is?
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. It's on page 50. That's right. Okay, cool. All right. So it says right here, look at this. This is crazy. This is insane. This is the wildest thing right here. Objective board, we are concerned with reports that many of Disney's directors have close personal relationships with Mr. Iger, which could impact their ability to objectively exercise their fiduciary duty to shareholders. It says right here, this is per CNBC. Bob Iger had personally selected every board member on this board. Every single one. Every single person has had Iger's approval. The board is supposed to be a check on management. How can you check them if you've been picked by them? Which is surprisingly lacking in the media and entertainment experience segment. Iger is personally close with several of them, including Nike chairman Mark Parker and General Motors CEO Mary Barra, who is on Disney's compensation committee. In addition, the wife of another director, Michael Froman, then vice chairman of MasterCard and now president of Council on Foreign Relations, has been housemates with Iger's wife. Whoa. What? I want to know the story on that, by the way. But okay, so we only have just close relationship with Iger. We have personal confidants, friends, people who have lived with members of his family here. I mean, this is outrageous. About half of Disney's non-management directors are CEOs or executive chairs at other multi-billion-dollar companies that face their own challenges and demand significant time and attention. Mary Barra is they pivoted towards electric vehicles, and now they're trying to pivot out of them because the market has slowed down so tremendously. They had whole factories that they're having to turn over or delay. It is incredible what they're having to do over there. She doesn't have time to look over Disney. And Mark Parker, the chairman here, says right here, Mark Parker, a long tenured Disney director, now serves as both executive chairman of Nike and as chairman of Disney, which is nearly unprecedented. There's a quote here from Reuters that says, "This you don't typically see this." I mean, they point to another executive like Rupert Murdoch who has something of a similar thing happening with Fox News Corp, but even he had to step down from one of them. I mean, this is just outrageous what is actually going on here. How can you chair two companies that are in such diverse industries? It's absolutely insane. And yet here they're on here. Now, I want to go ahead and take us through this a little bit more real fast. We talk about box office. Box office is really bad. They talk about how there's these movies, and you know these movies, folks. We've talked about them before, right? Haunted Mansion, the Marvels, Lightyear, Indiana Jones 5, Wish, right? And I put together a list here that goes into detail and very granular specificity as much as I can possibly get, because a lot of these numbers aren't public. Just how much these losses have impacted this company right here. And to Nelson Peltz's credit, he is quick to point that out right there. But I want to bring you down to the parks, because I don't think a lot of, it doesn't get much mention here, but what it does mention is crucial, right? And I'll add some more flavor to that as we go along here. Let me see here. It was 96, is that right? No, it's 118. Okay. Sorry.
No. I was just going to say, while you're trying to find that page, I don't know how many of you follow me on Twitter, but last Saturday, I had posted some pictures of one of the trams at Epcot that I was on. And it was one of the most disgusting things. I've never seen the tram and this is first thing in the morning. There's dirt and dust on the floor. There's I don't know if it was mold or what, but dirt, just it looked like it hadn't been cleaned ever. I mean, literally, I wish I had Lysol or whatever to sanitize it down. I wouldn't even put my kids in this. It's so bad. And that's just one of the, decline by degrees at the park. So it's not only that they're super expensive to get in, food's expensive. The trams are dirty. The rides are breaking down, or they don't have enough staff to open the darn ride. Or if you're like Moana, Journey of Water inspired by Moana, the fact that you can smell it before you get to it, and not in a good way, and you get there and cast members are telling you, it's not operating this morning. I'm like, it's water. What the heck is going on with this? Because the parks are the economic engine that feeds the rest of the Walt Disney Company.
And I have a couple of things that really bear this out, Lorena. Because here's the thing: even the resort that you were at, Epcot, is part of Walt Disney World Resort. You know how much it contributes to the overall profit of the company? Check this out. This is included right here. Disney World in Orlando contributes approximately 1/3 of Disney's operating income by itself. Operating income is what they use for profit. It contributes 1/3 of the profit for the company. And to see how diverse this company is in terms of its industries that it's actually in, right? Here is the Disney Q1 fiscal year 2024 by segment breakdown by app economy insights. They do some really great work over here. It's a bunch of numbers, and I'll explain it. It's pretty simple. I'll give credit to Mickey Views for pointing this out, but I think it really is crucial here.
Hey, Braden.
Oh yes, gotta have Braden. You can see right here, this is how much revenue is generated per segment, right? So we have some, Disney Channel, National Geographic, all that, linear networks. Direct-to-consumer, we talk about that a lot. That's your streaming, so Disney Plus, Hulu. Your studios, right? So Lucasfilm, Marvel, Disney, all that. That's under content sales. It's a little bit deceiving, but content sales and licensing. Parks and experiences, $7.8 billion of revenue. That's the blue here, generated by just that segment. We'll get back to that. And then consumer products. Okay. So the red here, you can see. The red is how much, even after all that revenue that's been generated, all your costs, all your expenses, $19 billion in expenses for this company. It's a lot. It's a big entity, right? With tendrils in many industries. You have a complete segment operating profit of $3.9 billion. That's the profit after the revenues has been absorbed in, right? And after your costs and expenses. Okay, we get that. You can see right here, linear only accounts for $1.2 billion. And DTC and content, they haven't been generating profit DTC never. And then content, I don't believe has generated a profit since the Chapek era, interestingly enough. Okay, look at parks. $2.4 billion just by itself of all of the $4 billion in profit that the Disney company has generated. Parks is a huge part. It is a massive economic driver for the entire company, and a lot of its profit is being taken, almost all of it exclusively, is being taken out of the parks and put into these other industries, these pet projects, that what you see before you hear. That's what's happening. Now, I'm going to go ahead and throw it to you guys real fast. How many board members of the 12 that are on there right now? And maybe you can include the people that are being considered. Of the 12 that are on there, how many of them have parks experience?
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna let the other folks
retro culture. What do you got?
I don't know. I would say 0.
0. Culture got it. 0 parks experience. By the way, for the economic driver of your entire company, bringing in $7.4 billion in revenue per quarter, it looks like, and for fueling every single facet of your company, whether it comes to studios, whether it comes to DTC, all of this stuff. And you have nobody with any parks experience, but Jay Rasulo isn't the guy who was in that segment for 15 years? Now, I understand. Maybe not the best tenure of all the people who have ever run the parks division or experiences, whatever they're calling it now. I get it. I understand. But at least you have somebody who understands what that business is supposed to look like at the end of the day. At least you have somebody who says, you know what? Let's focus on the guest experience for a change. Let's not have the trams in rough shape. Let's not open an experience like Journey of Water inspired by Moana, and not have it behind construction walls months after it debuts because of shoddy workmanship, because they went with the lowest bidder. Let's not do that. Let's make this turnaround. Let's invest in this parks product because it is fueling everything around us. And as Nelson Peltz illustrates right here, you're going to have very, very big competition in the next 2 years right here. That is going to take away from that segment.
Oh yeah. To back up a little bit, Vash, someone this dovetails exactly into what you were saying. Probably like 2 years ago, there was a shareholder proposal put on the ballot, probably from some of us with not as many shares, that said, hey, on the board of directors, there needs to be someone there who has experience in the parks.
Exactly.
And do you know what the board recommended? That we not vote for that, and that proposal got voted down. Yes.
It's unbelievably frustrating, and you can see Iger, they tout the $60 billion that we're supposedly getting over the next 10 years. But Peltz asks some very decent questions, right? How will this capital expenditure money be allocated by park, right? You have 12 parks. Where is this going? What is the expected annual cadence of the spend, right? Are we going to be spending $6 billion a year, which is what you historically have been for the last couple of years? Or are we going to, mix it up a little bit? What are we doing here? If the investment is back-end weighted over a decade, why commit to it now? That's a good question as well, I think. And what is the target return investors can hold you accountable to? So it asks some very profound questions. A lot of stuff that we've had questions about, I know, on whether it be that Park Place, on here, on Reina Creole's channel right now, whether it be Culture Casino, WW Pro. We've all been wondering, if you're allocating $60 billion, where's that going to go? And they've said, 70% of that is going to go towards capital expansion. Okay, how? You have hotels that can expand capacity. You have cruise lines that can expand capacity. You have DVC that can expand capacity. Are we going to be spending on those things? Or are we going to be spending on attractions that generate demand for all of those products associated with that segment? Nobody wants a DVC, for example, if the parks are suffering. I mean, and people are selling them because it's like, you know what? The parks, as Nelson Peltz said, they're a little tired. And even now, even with this this Morgan Stanley, technology
conference,
media, telecoms conference, right? Iger with the quotes here, right? We have IP. We have so much IP to mine that there's opportunity there. We have one Avatar-based land, Pandora, in Florida, and we're going to put a second one in California. Just you wait. It doesn't mean that we can't put one in somewhere in Asia or somewhere in Europe, but that's apparently where it's going. First off, okay, where, when, how big, how large? You've been touting this for a year. I think Braden had it best right here. Breaking, Disney CEO Bob Iger says that they could do, might do, maybe should do a new thing.
New thing to be determined. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I hear that, I'm like, we have all this and we can put things anywhere. Right. It's like, dude, you couldn't even get the Tron ride, which was a direct duplicate of what was put in Shanghai, built in Walt Disney World in what did it take them 7 years to get that sucker done? 6 or 7 years?
6 years of actual on the ground construction.
Wow. And Universal got the Velocicoaster up and running,
in a year.
So fast. In a year. Yeah. The worst kept secret ever at Universal. And
it went vertical. It went vertical in 8 months. I mean, it's like they don't understand it, right? I mean, they don't. Certain things you have to build on site. You can't test it. Coasters, you can test off site. You can build the infrastructure for them remotely, and often they do. It depends on who they use to do that, Arrow, whoever. Intamin,
Yeah.
You use any of those guys, right? But when it comes, and by the way, I guess Cosmic Rewind was in part built off-site and tested.
Yeah, Vacoma, I believe.
Yeah, it was Vacoma. Yeah. So, but you can do that. But when it comes to like a log ride, like let's say Splash Mountain, that's a build in place. There's no testing for that. That is a build in place. You have to get it right the first time. It's got to work. But Disney didn't have that with, as you said, the Tron thing. The Tron thing was a direct lift with no improvements, mind you, and no consideration to a taller, wider audience in North America. So you end up with a more uncomfortable and less satisfying experience to an audience that's looking for more than 1 minute of entertainment for the 2 hours of standing in line that they have to do.
Right.
So Disney is now a company of disappointment. And it doesn't matter if they're creating something new out of whole cloth, or they're offering up something old, or even putting a new skin suit on something.
Yeah.
You are getting less every time. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
And look, the money is the thing that bothers me the most. $60 billion isn't doing anything. You're barely maintaining the parks as it is.
Yeah.
Your CapEx is not. You should have considerable growth calculated into CapEx to offset anything that's unforeseen, right? And unforeseen things, well, you could burn a dragon down. I mean, you could burn Tom Sawyer Island down with the dragon. There's all kinds of things you can do. You've proved recently that you have no capability of handling these types of things any longer, and I'm worried.
That smells worse than the New York subway in the summer.
Well, hey, look at the stupid Moana concrete attraction of water. It's like I'm like it's like
how bad it smells.
You had to make fountains go. You had the biggest, coolest fountain ever in the middle of Epcot's entrance. The Fountain of Nations, whatever, thing was badass. Sorry, I'm saying a bad word, but the thing was great. It went off every 4 times an hour with precision, with pneumatic air pops that forced the water to break and all kinds of stuff. And you've been
Bellagio got theirs.
You've been having jumping fountains at the Imagination Pavilion since '82, and yet here we are.
Lord, not that.
And you
bad lighting.
You can't make this stuff work.
I mean, it's endless. Toontown opened last year. Donald Duck's boat. Where's it at? Where's Donald Duck's pond? It's still not open. Year after.
Yes, but I mean, it only made it 4 months without getting smuzzled up. I'm trying to look for words that aren't offensive, but
it's been a revolving series of construction walls ever since. To your point, Culture. I mean, and not just for Donald's boat, but also for various areas of this fake grass that they have, and the fountain structure that they created. Which, by the way, they had to destroy 2 other fountains to build. Completely ridiculous. Go ahead, Culture.
Well, and we didn't even get the opportunity for them to capitalize on the commerce that they were going to do. Remember the commerce tower that was going to block everybody's view of that thing didn't get built. You tore down a bunch of junk in support of these things, and you didn't build the things. You said, nah.
It's just I can't. I mean, this used to be, and interestingly enough, I took Camera Girl to Epcot a couple days ago, and we're here at this part, which she remembers the Fountain of Nations being there. She remembers all of the cool fiber optics that were in the concrete. To her, she loved that, and she's just like, "Where did it go? What the heck is this? This isn't
garbage."
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. She was not impressed by this. She just kept going back to her childhood of being able to run across all the fiber optics, and they would have certain light patterns. They weren't always the same. They were random and they were programmed. And this, it's just, it doesn't work. It wasn't tested well enough.
Well, and the
pressure washer on it.
See, and okay, so I'm looking at this, right? Was this done with LEDs? They didn't use EM wire?
This guy right here?
Yeah.
This one?
I believe they were just LEDs embedded in the ground using, I believe, based on I think Philips Hue was doing them.
Okay, so it's like they're like waterproof, maybe.
I think they're waterproof, but not
pressure.
Not pressure.
All right.
2,000 psi.
So instead of going with something like an electroluminescent wire, which like old school guys like me would have like been like, let's do something that lasts a long time, that is not dependent on little tiny light bulbs and microchips, and let's put all of our problems in a box at the end that we can easily access and fix. I don't get it.
It's
so dark.
You raise a great point. It's like, how is this $60 billion going to be spent right here? And that's the thing. It's like there are things that you have to account for that maybe you necessarily didn't foresee, like this, by the way. So we have to factor that into the equation. Also, too, these new attractions that they've been building have horrific uptime. I mean, just downtime like you wouldn't believe. I mean, you remember the disaster that was Pandora's Flight of Passage when that opened initially. That was just a killer. Rise of the Resistance, obviously.
It's just funny because they had that Pandora's box stick stuck up in a corner over at Burbank that they tested forever with that, and they didn't bother to make sure that it was going to be resilient.
Yes. Yeah. Heating issues, I've heard, were the problem right there. But so it's like, okay, well, we're getting Pandora. That's great, awesome, fun. The problem is he wasn't specific on where it was actually going. Is this going in DCA, which I don't think anybody wants, and that park is just simply not big enough to hold something like this. If it's going to be at scale at all, who knows, right?
They're turning that, but they're turning it. They're turning it into IP. I'm just saying they're turning it into IP Park anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. I'm not saying that they're not. I'm just saying it's like, where are you going to put it? I mean,
that's my question, because at Animal Kingdom, Pandora, that's a big, huge swath of land that's over there, and it needs to be that big so that you feel like you're on Pandora. That's how immersive it is. So if they don't have the space for that, at the very least, what are they going to do? Copy Flight of Passage and put like a little, because a sliver of Pandora is not going to work. It's not going to work. The way that it's constructed from when you walk in and through there, it's very organic.
Right.
And I'm with Dre. It's like, where are they going to put it?
Okay, maybe it goes in Disneyland Forward, right? A lot of people say, well, Disneyland Forward. Okay, well, Disneyland Forward they're only saying, they're saying right now, we are going to dedicate $1.9 billion towards new attractions for Disneyland Forward specifically in the next 10 years. Okay, well, Pandora and Avatar, that opened, 2017, right? I think it broke ground.
Yeah. And it's over $1 billion.
Sure. So, and that was back then. So how much is this going to be? That's how much is it going to be now?
Gosh.
And then it's only $1.9 billion that you're accounting for. That's the only thing we're going to get for 10 years at Disneyland. And apparently we have enough room to expand by 50%. Why aren't we doing that? I mean, there's no ambition whatsoever. I remember back in the day, and I'm not saying that, we necessarily have to do this again, but back in the day, I think it was the 1980s, in a 6-month period, we had Typhoon Lagoon, Grand Floridian, Disney's MGM Studios, and Pleasure Island all within 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of growth was expensive, and unfortunately, Walt Disney World has been coasting on that for decades now without a reinvigoration of investment.
Well, there's been no capital investment. I was trying to present that, and again, I've been arguing for a fifth gate in Florida for 9 years. Actually, no, technically 10 years, 2013. I started my campaign for a fifth gate back then, and I was in people's ears that were like, well, we have no reason to do that. We have plenty of capacity. Our parks are over. our parks aren't overflowing. We have, ample foot space for everybody that's there. We have ample services for restaurants, etc. So I got a bunch of pushback, and I'm like, you make no plans for growth. None. Are you okay, RNG, or are we making you sad?
Oh no. I'm sorry. I'm just learning. I'm learning.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay. Yeah, we don't want to.
Yeah, no, I'm learning because I think I mean I'm trying to absorb all of this because it doesn't make any sense to me. They have 60 they have money to go invest back into what they have, and Reina telling us the story about the train is concerning. I've never been there, but I always love watching her videos.
Yeah,
and it's really, really upsetting that they're not doing or investing the money in the right place, it seems. And they have plans for all of this stuff, and then they're not really doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is
in 2021. I'll tell you how bad this is. In 2021, they allocated $30 billion towards the studio side. $30 billion. At that point, they were only allocating $6 billion towards the parks. In 2022, they did it again. $30 billion. And it's like, what? How are you going to dedicate $60 billion towards the studio division in 2 years, and you're only giving the parks division experiences, and that includes consumer products, by the way, and cruise lines and everything else, $60 billion over 10 years? Okay, well, maybe if it's not a great revenue driver, maybe I understand that. No, it is the biggest revenue driver. What?
Well, okay, so I just want to repeat what you said this morning with WDW Pro, right?
Please.
You guys did a great video.
Thank you.
They generate 1/3 of all operating income.
Yeah. Yep.
1/3. Just theme parks alone. Just Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
Just Disney World.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right here. It's insane. And maybe they're resting on their laurels, fine, but you have a multi-billion-dollar theme park opening up within a stone's throw of Walt Disney World.
And not only that, okay, not only that, just kind of set the stage a little bit. We're like, why is it that Walt Disney World generates so much money? Orlando is one of the top tourist destinations in the country. We have so many international visitors that come to Walt Disney World. I think the highest foreign investor in Florida in tourism. First is Great Britain. Second is Japan. Third is South Korea. We get tons of international tourists into Walt Disney World. And not only do they stay at Walt Disney World, but they stay and spend money in the local economy. Now, Epic Universe. I've been driving down there, for like 2 years or so, looking at the construction. Epic Universe is located literally down the street from the Orange County Convention Center. Do you think people are going to say, hey, if I'm going to a convention in 2025, all I have to do is go down the street and I'm in Epic Universe? Epic Universe, where that is located, it is so convenient to a whole bunch of hotels that are moderate to a bit higher price, all up and down Universal Boulevard, and also part of the International Drive tourist corridor.
Yes. Oh, I mean, Walt Disney World alone has what? I think it's up to 45,000 rooms now, give or take a couple thousand there. Think about 45,000 rooms. That is insane. Unfortunately, I've just heard a statistic that was really alarming. That they would usually normally be at like 20% vacancy or so, or 15% vacancy, and that was like a slow season for them. They're now doing 50% vacancy now, as people are shifting their consumer habits and consumer patterns. Right here, Magic Kingdom. Top of the list right here. $17 million visitors in 2022. This is the most attended theme park in the world right now. It's fluctuated between it and Tokyo for some time now. This is a massive amount of people that come here. And look, I'm not saying that they are necessarily going to stop coming here when Epic Universe opens. There will be some cannibalization, no doubt. But where the real cannibalization will come from, it will come in the dollars. Because guess what? When people go to see the new thing, that's where they spend the money. They go to see the new thing first. That's where the money goes. That's why Disney really reacted to Wizarding World. It wasn't necessarily the reaction in terms of people's guest experience or whatever. They were sick of seeing Wizarding World bags come into the Polynesian.
That's true. It's true. I mean, and they really needed and the term was Potter swatter.
Yes.
And they thought Pandora would help with that. It did not. It did, but not as much as they needed. And then they were like, well, we are going to give you Star Wars. No, you did.
Right. Well, and here's the thing. Here's how you know Star Wars Galaxy's Edge didn't necessarily move the needle that they were thinking, right? So here's Disneyland Paris. Disneyland Paris, the Studios Park, what they announced 3 new lands that was coming to this park. One of those was Arendelle, right? Frozen. Yeah. Another one was Avengers Campus. The last one was Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. But a couple of years ago, the CEO came out when asked and said, hey, are you still doing Star Wars Galaxy's Edge? And he's like, well, we are still working on the 3rd theme. We will make announcements when we are ready. So this is interesting. When Bob Iger says Europe, well, that's funny because the leading rumor ever since this happened, or even before then, was that, well, maybe we're getting a Lion King, live action Lion King themed land. That was seriously a rumor. Or maybe we're getting Avatar. And now he's mentioning Europe in this conference here. It's interesting, but again, it's all blue sky. It's all promises. And as Nelson Peltz, and I'll finish on this point, as Nelson Peltz says, given the new serious competitive threat that Epic Universe presents, it's right here at the bottom of this page here, Disney needs to fortify its leadership position with new investment. How much of the $60 billion of CapEx is earmarked for new attractions at Walt Disney World, and when will that capital be spent? I think we should all be asking those questions, along with a series of others. And please, dear God, get Jay Rasulo on this board. Finally, we need a parks guy.
My goodness! You know what? And I talk about this a lot. I noticed that most of the Disney collectibles that I love from the parks were all purchased during the Jay Rasulo era.
Wow, that's profound.
Well, and again, I mean, I'm not a Pressler fan. I'm not a retail guy fan when it comes to the parks, but there is something to be said for the fact that they knew how to market the individual things in the parks, and they don't do that anymore because they don't have anything to do that with anymore. I mean, the last creative idea I think I remember coming out of parks in support of an attraction was the Ecrons that you could buy.
Right.
Right there at Pandora, because when you got to go,
I had to think of the little shoulder dragon. Yeah, those things.
The dragons. Yeah. So you could, I could buy your dragon before they could buy their dragon, but now they're going to train dragons down the street in a little while. Anyway, but the thing is, when they built out Galaxy's Edge, point me to something that is park specific that they can market. Well, they took out the Bantha attraction. That would have been very park specific. By the way, before, I know recently there was an article on it and a video on it, but I'd been talking about it for years that this was the thing that was supposed to give you the kinetic energy around entire area. And it was going to be something that the guests could experience riding on a Bantha. It was going to be a quadrupedal experience. I mean, people were going to freak out over this, and they decided no.
Especially there was from what I understand, there was a free roaming aspect to it too, which was kind of crazy.
Yeah,
and it was a motion simulator base on there. Yeah. I think with that park place we just did a bunch of stuff on there.
You did
if you want to learn more,
check that out. Yeah, it's really well done. And I mean, again, with the technology, if you've seen it in working, you were like, oh, that's really cool. And then when you saw how it was going to be dressed up, you were like, Oh, wow. And then you'll remember, if you flash back to what you were presented at that fateful expo.
Oh, Lord, not
You
that.
didn't get it. He did a good job. Well, what bothers me the most is that we almost got the Star Wars that every, 30-year-old for the rest of time, and I don't mean 30-year-old me, I mean every 30-year-old ever in the history of the world would have loved to visit the 3 original planet destinations that you were going to get.
Yep.
And you would not have needed this convoluted backstory that nobody cares about, with characters that are often shunned by the fans, occupying an area where you're like, oh, that was a really neat idea if they'd have done it the way it was going to be done.
Yeah, like you got to walk through New York to get to Batu instead of being able to walk onto Endor, come out of Tatooine, and basically feel like you were there. Go right across the street and go to the Mos Eisley Cantina.
The worst part of it all would have been that you would have lost Muppet.
Yeah.
From the way that layout would have come down.
Yeah, that's
and again, but you stole the space that you could have expanded Pixar into from Toy Story Land, because that was going to go in that corner. It was either going to be that or Cars again. But the goal was to kind of create more Pixar space on the right-hand side of the park if you're walking from the front. Of course, that would be the west side of the park if you're thinking of it as cardinal direction. But it just blows my mind. I mean, can you imagine an up attraction? I can.
I would love that. Oh my gosh, that would be so freaking awesome if we had that. That movie, man, in the first 5 to 10 minutes up,
tears.
Riding a bantha, looking down on the breadth of the areas there. I mean, and to just kind of tour kinetically. I mean, theme parks have to be designed on multiple levels, which is the other problem with putting Pandora in Disneyland Resort. You cannot hide giant rocks or show buildings. Do you know how big those show buildings are? Massive. They're like an Indiana Jones building. They're like huge.
Yeah, they're huge. Just the landscaping in general, just the scale of it.
I'm not wrong. Vash. That is the same size as a full Indiana Jones show building.
Probably larger, because
I think it is bigger.
Because they put Navi River Journey in the same building as Flight of Passage, which, by the way, that led to big problems.
Well, and it's also why we got a very short Navi River Journey, because they had it laid out much bigger. They also had space for an up and back roller coaster that was supposed to go in back there that we didn't get either.
This is
something.
And now you're going to get discount Chinese Zootopia at best, where they pulled the dinosaur parking lot of Carnival rides that used to be, DCA originally. But what are you going to get back there? You have giant amount of wasted space and an opportunity to fix the Yeti and dress the entire building at the same time.
It's a darn shame about that Yeti. He's just stuck. He's just
Disco,
stuck
right?
in Disco Yeti.
I still think Bob Gurr could fix it.
I think he could. I think
he could.
He already said what he would do. It would not look like the Yeti we had. It would look like the Yeti we should have had from the beginning, though. It wouldn't require the forcible thrust of 7 jumbo jets, required to move the Yeti. I'm like, why?
Look at King Kong back in the day, which was designed by Bob Gurr, right?
The original one, right, with the L.
And it
moved.
Yeah,
as part of the part of the wizard. You can see it in the wizard.
So cool. That was so cool. Like, if you had ever seen a King Kong film, you're in this elevated train when the animatronics knocking the the trans back and forth, and you're swinging there. It's so cool, especially when you come face to face. Because that was one of the promos from Universal, come face to face with like King Kong, and that's what you did. And that was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Richard.
Oh no, I was like, that sounds really cool.
It was cool.
It was really cool. I don't like the crap they replaced it with.
Yeah, it's better than Jimmy Fallon's weirdness of something or another.
Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
They put the Mummy in there, didn't they?
The Mummy's great. I'm sorry. That was a really good first shot at a show coaster, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was
Hollywood's not so much. Banana breath, that's right, Theo Fendel. Oh man, some good memories, but
yeah, I forgot all about that. Well, I'll give Retro Nerd Girl the last word. So hearing all this about this town hall that Nelson Peltz is going to have with the shareholders, what do you think about that? Do you think it's a good move?
Well, I think I'm glad there's somebody there to kind of put the fire under their feet a little bit, and like who's working on the inside to try to help fix this problem or bring light to it. Unfortunately, I don't know if it's just too far gone at this point, if there is any help for them, but at least he's trying his best, and he seems to be very, very smart about the way he's going about doing this. I know he has some naysayers, but I do think he's, if he can continue to, he's applying a lot of logic here. It's not coming out of anywhere, out of nowhere. That document is very, very informative. I'm actually going to look at it a little bit later, just to get myself more familiarized with all the stuff. And thank you, Vash, for really breaking that down as much as you have, because that was really great. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to translate all that. But yeah, I think this is all part of the problem with Disney, because you do have the parks and how much money it's bringing in, but also you do have the entertainment aspect, all the little other divisions, and they've got all this money. They've been buying up all these companies and all these IPs, and they're not doing anything with a lot of them. And they're not doing anything with their parks that seem to be satisfactory. The stuff that they're doing with the Tiana, space is looking really terrible. If I can, I don't mean to put down anybody, but it doesn't look good. And they spent a lot of money so far getting people to do research and stuff. It makes no sense. It doesn't look like I'm trying to piece it all together, and all I can see is mismanagement and a waste of money. So hopefully, I always like to live in hope that something wonderful will happen. But at the rate it's going and the way it's looking, I'm really doubtful. And I hope that he can do something about it. I hope Peltz can do, help. But it looks really bad.
Yeah,
tough.
I hear you. It is tough. It is tough. If anything, the fact I would say that because it's probably the battle more so than the war in a way. And I think with all of this, the fact that Nelson Peltz has even done this, putting that doubt out there, putting the information out there for people to see from an unobstructed view what certain people think, educated people think, people who this is their job, this is what they're into, this is what they see the Walt Disney Company as. Like, as someone who goes to the parks, I see the Walt Disney Company in a completely different light. It's like, it used to be a time where I would say, shut up and take my money, just because of all the stuff. I want this, I want this, I want this. And now when I go, it's like, yeah, I don't know if I really want to spend anything, which is kind of sad, because that's not how it used to, that's how it used to be. So we shall see, because I do believe on Valiant's channel, I think tomorrow, some of you guys are going to be going over, well, live, the town hall that Nelson Peltz and Trian Partners is having. Like I said, I sent a question. I hardly think it's going to be asked, but I put that in there. Put that in there anyway, so you guys can definitely check that out tomorrow. So, folks, as usual, got to thank my panelists. They bring it. I thank you so much, Culture, for bringing all that exposition and revelation about what's going on with Sweet Baby Inc. And no, we're not taking crazy pills. This stuff is actually happening, before our eyes. So thank you. Check out his channel. He's got all kinds of videos about this whole Sweet Baby Inc. cluster that's going on.
Yes, I'm watching every one of them.
Oh, I freaking
They're
love
hilarious.
it. I freaking love it. And I got to catch up on that Park Place videos, because, Dash is like killing it. Like him and Jonas, whole crew over there. Yeah. I have to put them on to watch later, because like I can't watch it when I'm working. But awesome stuff that they're doing over there at that Park Place. So let's see, to outro really quick. Let's go around and tell folks what you have going on. I'll start with Dash. What do you got going on, and where can people find you?
Well, right before VR's stream there, going over the Nelson Peltz Town Hall, we're going to be doing a little pregame at that Park Place, actually. We're going to be going live, this time at 11 Eastern, instead of our noon slot, in order to give a little space for VR and to let them take us through that. It should be a great series of shows, that is for sure, but we'll set you up, that is for sure. And by the way, we're gonna throw it to somebody who's gonna be setting us up even before then. So that is awesome there. And Theme Park Universe podcast. I do a show regularly on there as well, 2 times a month actually, where we cover theme parks from all over the globe with Theme Park Wizard there. So we're having a lot of fun. So if you want to check any of that out, there you go. That's where it is. Oh, here we go. There you go.
There we go.
Yep, and right before that Park Place goes live, which is where I'll be. Actually, I'll head it over there myself. I'll be doing my 6-minute daily early tomorrow, leading into that Park Place live. I'll have a little bonus time. I decided to push forward a couple of hours, just like they pushed forward a couple of hours. So I'll be going really early for me, but at the same time, it'll give me a chance to lead into their show. I think it's a big day tomorrow if you want to see what other people would have in mind for Disney and its progress forward. So I will pregame the pregame, and then I'll go to the pregame, and then I'll go to the game. and then after that, I'm going to go hang out with Mr. H. So,
Wow. Well, Retro Nerd Girl, what do you have coming up, and where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on my channel, Retro Nerd Girl, on YouTube, and also on Twitter. And I do have a watch party on Saturday for Dune 1984. And awesome. Yes. And then after that, I'm going to take 2 weeks to take a break, and then I'll be back.
All right, folks. You do not want. Oh God, I love David Lynch's Dune. It's just crazy fever dream that I absolutely love. So, folks, definitely do check that out. As for myself, I will be appearing on the Dark Council show over on Fatal J's channel at 8:30. We've got the 6-man crew. Well, 5 now. No, I think Abu said he's gonna pop in. So we've got Abu, we've got Fatal J, we've got Damaj and I, we've got Mark with a C, we've got Lord Callis and Drunk 3PO. So they will all be there. You will be redirected from this stream over to Fatal J's stream. So you don't have to do anything. You just leave this up, come back, boom, you're already and seated and hanging out for the Dark Council. As for what I have coming up, of course, member stream tomorrow at 8 p.m. More AI fun with Florida Man headlines. We're going to be playing that game again, seeing how stupid Copilot is since it can't spell Florida right. And let's see, Saturday, doing things a little differently because I'm going to go see Berlin in concert. Yes, Take My Breath Away, Berlin for E to the Beat down at Epcot. So we're going to have an evening stream where we're going to be hanging out there in evening time and catching the luminous fireworks, which I haven't seen yet. Yeah, so we're going to be checking that out and doing one of my favorite things, shutting the park down. Yeah, hang out until everybody's gone.
I like it.
So, folks, as always, thank you guys so much for checking out the show, all your chats, super chats, messages. We appreciate all the support. So please do subscribe to all my lovely panelists. All that information is in the description box of this video. You guys take care. Keep your opinions spicy. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.